can hear me. Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Paige Powell. I'm the festival director of the Sunny Dayz Mural Festival. Welcome to the Voices of the Music Industry panel at Factory Obscura. This is our third or fourth year here. We cannot remember because time means nothing, honestly. Here in a moment, I'm going to introduce you to our moderator and a lineup of fabulous musicians that you'll get to meet once I'm done yapping. For those of you who have not yet joined the Definitely Not a Cult Sunny Dayz family, Sunny Dayz is the first festival in Oklahoma dedicated to empowering, elevating, and celebrating women and gender minority artists through public art. We exist mostly to pay women and gender minority artists an equitable rate, but we also support artists of all kinds. That includes musicians, which is what we're here to talk about tonight. So we are also the highest paid mural festival in the state. We travel to, big deal. It's a lot of money. I came from doing like 1 day, 3 day events, and we're kind of actually putting on like a Sunny Dayz, like a mural camp. So we have a festival that's 1 day, but our artists will arrive a week before. So in about 34 days, 39 artists from Oklahoma and all over the country are gonna go to Claremore, Oklahoma. We travel every year, we're insane. We've done Oklahoma City twice. We've done Edmond, Tulsa, Ponca City was our first rural spot, and then this year we're going to Claremore, Oklahoma, which is on Route 66. It is the centennial of Route 66. So we're trying to like give Americana without giving MAGA, so wish us luck with that. None of this work that we do would be possible without partners like Factory Obscura, like Lindsey Cox, who you'll hear from soon. She performed in the first year of Sunny Dayz and was like, hey, I think y'all need help with your stage. I would love to help. So we have a lot of people that kind of join in, that love what we're about, where we add people to our Sunny Dayz fam every year. So thank you to Factory Obscura for hosting this for the third or fourth year, we can't remember. If you like what you hear and you want to support our mission, we've got a table back there with some merch. We're having our merch launch here in a couple weeks at OK Cider, which is one of our partners. One thing I will say, that while Sunny Dayz is all about joy, and that joy is a form of protest, we take our work very seriously. We exist to support people who are targeted with hatred and violence, and Sunny Dayz is about love. While we exist to support women and gender minority artists, if you come to the festival, you're just gonna see a lot of joy, you're gonna feel a lot of joy, and we want everybody to be able to attend and feel safe. So, I'm gonna hand things off to our moderator, Lindsey Cox. She is the creative force behind the Oklahoma City-based art punk band Stepmom. She wears many hats as an artist, musician, director, producer, talent booker, and event producer here at Factory Obscura, and host of her own radio show, Lindsey's Lounge on KOSU The Spy. Advocating for the local music community is at the core of Lindsey's many endeavors. Everyone give it up for Lindsey Cox.
Everyone give it up for Paige and Sunny Dayz. Such incredible work that they do. That festival is such a great time. I recommend everybody go if you haven't been. I'm going to introduce our panelists. Up first, we have Bella Burns. She's an Afro-Latina singer-songwriter, originally from Dallas, Texas, now rooted in Oklahoma City. Her music blends textures of R&B, neo-soul, and pop, drawing inspiration from artists like Anderson .Paak, creating a sound that feels both soulful and contemporary. Everyone give it up for Bella Burns. Our next panelist, Sav Foster, is an artist and tour manager out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Their career in the music industry began in 24 or 25 when they served as president of the Oklahoma State University Music Industry Association. During this time, they led the festival planning committee in putting together the third annual Stilly Stock Music Festival in Stillwater, which raises money for music lesson scholarships and instruments for kids in need. The event was headlined by Red Sun and hosted by the McKnight Center. Now working with Pink Street Management, they manage local artist Keith Lee. In addition to artist management, they have a passion for tour management. Since joining Pink Street, they have booked and tour managed Keith Lee's first and second tours throughout the Midwest and South. They also assistant tour managed for Stepmom during their fall 2025 East Coast tour. Everyone give it up for Sav Foster. Up next is Lee Hernan. Lee was born in the town of Moca, Puerto Rico. She grew up in the town of Aguadilla. From a very young age, she participated in different singing competitions and activities, making herself known throughout singing and dancing. The musical blood that runs through her veins was inherited by one of her grandparents, who taught her to play the guitar when she was only 16 years old. Since then, Lee Hernan began to write songs of her own, and songwriting became part of her artistic passions. Her favorite styles include Latin pop, rock, although she also likes electronic music and R&B, among others. So everyone give it up for Lee Hernan. Last but not least, we have Shari Jackson. Shari is the executive director of both the Norman Music Alliance, which produces Norman Music Festival, and the Depot, a multidisciplinary arts organization housed in the historic Santa Fe Depot. A native Normanite and graduate of the University of Oklahoma with a long career in nonprofit arts, Jackson is a sixth-generation Oklahoman holding a Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics. She has over 25 years of experience in nonprofits arts administration in Norman. Her previous experience includes business director of the Sooner Theater and executive director at Cimarron Opera. Mother of JJ and cat mom to Beans, she is a strong believer in the power of the arts to heal and help. Everyone give it up for Shari Jackson. Thank you all so much for joining us. Go ahead and grab your mics. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it is kind of like a dating game. So, to get us started, I want to know about your journey getting to the music industry. So, how did you get started in this industry? And we can just go down the line here. So, Shari?
So, I've always been in music. The music industry part came in the last 15 years or so. I mean, I started singing when I was 3 and nobody could stop me. I was in every choir, show choir performance, anything I could get my hands on. Joined a band as soon as I could find 3 people that could put some music together when I lived in Taiwan, did children's theater. But the industry part of music really came with me becoming a part of NMF and really learning what it takes and how the industry is structured and what the industry is missing here in Oklahoma in terms of structure. So really it's just clinging to the creative community and finding my path. That's it.
Thank you. And just as a note, when you speak, try to put your lips up to the mic if you can.
Hi, how are you today? You're good? Well, I started the music industry a couple of years ago, probably 5 years ago, but I started doing original music. I've been in the music for years, but I was doing a lot of covers, and I used to write songs, but I was like just stuck into cover songs all the time. And then 5 years ago, I realized that, hey, I have this talent to write music. I have a lot of potential. I want to connect to people. And that's when I started to write and releasing my own songs. So I've been focusing in Latin pop music. Now I'm working with tropical music and like bachata, salsa. So now I'm learning a lot of things about music that I didn't know. It's not just singing. There's tons and tons of things that we have to learn in order to be successful in music. Yeah, so I'm very happy that I'm learning. I'm gonna keep learning, releasing new songs. Yeah.
I got started, I've always loved music since I was a kid, and then I ended up going to school for it. I went to Oklahoma State, and I was a music industry president of the Music Industry Association there. And I met Bailey through that, and she owns and runs Pink Street. And I was managing a band that I was in at the time, and I kind of fell in love with it, and I fell in love with festival planning. I put on Stilly Stock there in Stillwater, and I kind of cornered Bailey after I came and had her speak, and I was like, hey, you need an intern. And she's like, yeah, I think I do. And I was like, perfect, that's me. And then she kind of just was stuck with me. So, and now I work with Keith Lee. I went on tour with her as her bassist back in December and as her manager. And yeah, kind of just doing whatever I can, wherever I can.
Hi, I'm Bella. I'm sure Lindsey already introduced all of us. But I also had loved music my whole life. When I was younger, I was always singing and dancing, and I was in choir whenever I was in school up until junior high, but sports kind of took over most of my time throughout high school, and then as well into college, which brought me to Oklahoma. But I got to meet a lot of creatives in the city, and I was also part of the Academy of Contemporary Music, ACM, through UCO, and so that helped kind of like extend my connections and everything, but I never really thought about making music myself as too much. I think I was very scared, and then karaoke came along, Ponyboy Karaoke. I don't know if anybody knows about Ponyboy Karaoke, but it's a really cool space, and one of my best friends co-hosts it, so I would go there every Thursday night, and from there, that's when the questions like, do you have your own music, came out, started coming about, and I just kind of, I was like, you know what, this is something I really wanted, I've thought about doing, I wanted to do, and I think fear had always stopped me, so then I was like, you know what, a friend of mine was like, write a song, if you don't like it, you can scratch it, but just see how you feel about it. And so did that, and then wrote another one, and got just really great opportunities to perform. I started performing in March of 2024. First show was at MAF, and and so that led to Juneteenth on the East, and showed like opening for JB at Beer City, and just a lot of getting to be on a lot of bills with really cool artists. And I was just talking about how I love how this community is so collaborative, and everybody's kind of helping everybody out, and you know, we all have like the same goals to make music. So that's like my start and where I'm at right now. So
Awesome, thank you. I'm curious to know what inspires and drives the work that you do and the art that you create.
Starting here. That's fine. If you have an answer, go right ahead. I think for me, I draw inspiration from a lot of different places. What inspires me the most about working with creatives, particularly musicians in the music industry, is that it's just no word of exaggeration that music absolutely saved my life in many points in my life. And we're from Oklahoma. We're in a really interesting place. Oklahoma's not always the easiest place to be a weirdo. And music is healing, I mean it, and it's powerful. And being close to something that's that inspiring keeps me going. So I think really just that simple.
All right, something that inspired me, I think it started with my grandfather. He used to sing at church, play guitar, and my family, they always enjoy music. So he inspired me to write song, and thanks to him, I started playing a little bit guitar after my 16 years old. So he's one of the person that I admire, because like he never was involved fully in the music, but he was very supportive. And thanks to that, when I was 18, so I started writing my own songs and doing my own demos. But I have everything in a notebook, and I was like, well, someday I'm gonna release my song to the world. And so I just had collected all those songs during those years. And then another person that inspired me was looking at those big artists. When I was little, I was a fan of Gloria Trevi's and Natalia Jimenez. Gloria Trevi and Natalia is from Spain, and Gloria Trevi, she is from Mexico. Gloria Trevi is like a big pop artist in the Latin community, and she was so energetic, so fun. She wasn't scared of performing, and I really enjoyed seeing her, and I was like, one day I want to be like her, and I want to learn from her. And Natalia Jimenez, she wasn't like a pop artist. It was more like rock, but her voice was so powerful, and her presence, stage presence. She always sang with her heart, and I always say I also wanna be with her. So I wanna have a combination, because even like I feel my personality matches with those two artists. And when I grew up, I was trying to get a little bit of both. And right now, I feel that Hernan is I'm an artist thanks to those artists that I saw in the past. And yeah, so those are my sorry. Next. Thank you.
I was gonna say, Lee, I definitely see that like high energy and like singing from your heart when you perform. So you've definitely achieved that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I think like music is my favorite like way to tell stories, I guess. And growing up, I'm from a small town in Texas, and so I didn't have any like queer representation. Grew up in the church with conservative parents, and so I kind of found like company and comfort in like queer musicians putting their music out there. And so like I remember in 9th grade, it was the COVID shutdown, and I would like go on really long walks just listening to Girl in Red over and over and over again. And I think definitely hearing like stories from other queer artists like saved my life. And I just like everybody has a story worth telling, and if I can be a part of getting that story out there and like maybe changing somebody's life, like that's definitely something I want to do. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the storytelling aspect of music. And I think music for me has always been so just expressive and a way for me to just strive to be more like my authentic self. And growing up, my grandmother I just always was surrounded by music. My dad was in a band and played literally every instrument and introduced me to Stevie Wonder, and my mom introduced me to Baduism when I'm singing Tyrone in the back seat, like not knowing really what's going on. But I'm like very inspired by those artists. My grandmother would take me to concerts all the time, even if I was way too little to remember, and sing Bon Jovi and things like that. So just had a good mix of inspiration at a young age. But I think now, having pursued it post-college, after college and everything, I was kind of at a turning point of what I wanted to do, and I was at a really low point in my life, and I was like, I need an outlet to figure out where I want to go. And like that was the only way I could really express myself, was through music and through singing. And so that's kind of what drives me, and also getting to see how it connects with other people, whether my reasoning for writing a song is something very specific, somebody can interpret it in a different way and connect to it in their own way. So I think that's the beautiful thing that's what drives me. So
thank you for sharing. I'm curious to know if there are any big lessons that you all have learned along the way pursuing your particular fields. Anything that maybe went wrong, or was just something that you could learn from and say, okay, I'm not going to do that again, or I'm going to do it different this time.
I think as a part of Norman Music Festival, we probably say that about 30 times every year. Like, we're not going to do that again. Lesson learned. But I think big lesson learned is you're always gonna learn lessons. Is it doesn't stop. You don't arrive at a destination. There will always be mistakes. There will always be opportunities and necessities that make you need to do something in a different way. And staying, like my new phrase sometimes talking about it is remain fluid. Like stay fluid, don't get static, don't get stuck. Because if you can keep moving, you'll be able to navigate changes, obstacles, troubles, successes, all of those pieces, and not get stuck and miss them. I think that's a big one for me.
Stay fluid. I love that.
Stay fluid.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things to learn in the music. For me, I learned a couple of lessons. First, stop doing covers. Covers are good. Cover songs are good. But if you can write, like myself, I write my own songs and I already have the idea of what I want to do. I made a lot of mistakes. I was singing covers for years, like years and years. I moved to Oklahoma 10 years ago, and I had a band, and well, they only play covers. I think from the covers, I learned to practice stage management, my performance, those details that you need in order to be a successful singer. But then I was like, singing too much cover, I realized that people didn't know who Hernan is as an artist. Like, nobody knew what was my style, what was my songs about, and I was feeling lost. I say, God gave me this talent, and I'm just wasting it and singing covers. So I learned that it doesn't matter. I'm 35. I learned it doesn't matter how old you are. If you want to do it, you just have to do it. So that's why, like a couple of years ago, I started doing my own music. And still, I was like, I'm still young. I'm gonna release my songs. There's always people who's going to enjoy my music, and I understand, like, it doesn't matter what language is the song. Like, if people can feel it, and if I can connect with others through my music, that for me makes me really happy. So I also learned to be perseverance and to not quit, because I was giving up all the time. So I was like, I'm making this song, and so my first song I released, I didn't do any promotion, but I thought that the song was gonna, blow. I was gonna be famous, and I realized that it only has one stream. And I was like, oh my gosh, what I'm doing wrong. But I also learned that in music industry, you have to keep working hard. You have to keep releasing music. You have to use promo. You have to pay different things. So you have to put all the effort. And so that's my motto: be perseverance. And that's for me something important, a lesson that I learned. And I know I'm gonna keep learning more things through the time.
I haven't been doing this for a super long time, so one of the things that I'm learning is respond to emails. That one I'm really bad at. But another thing is something that my best friend Jack always told me was just like put myself out there. And I have a hard time doing that. I don't really like talking to people. But he did all of the music industry stuff with me. And one of the things I had to do was bring a speaker in every Monday, and he was like, that's gonna all be on you, so like figure it out or you're gonna fail. And I was like, okay, thanks, Jack. And so, but if there was somebody in Oklahoma that was doing something, like I was sliding into their DMs and being like, hey, are you free Monday night at 7 p.m. to come talk to a group of college kids that don't know what we're doing yet? And it's kind of just like, every opportunity I've had is just because like I got out of my comfort zone and I went out and I was like, hey, you need an intern, or hey, you want to be in Stillwater. Nobody wants to be in Stillwater. You want to be in Stillwater at 7 p.m. on Monday. Probably not, but please. And like that's how I met Lindsey too. I met so many cool people doing that, and I've gotten some cool opportunities. And like that's how I met Keith Lee. Was just like 2 years ago. I was just like, hey, I'm coming to your show, and then 2 years later, now here we are. But it just like opportunities aren't really going to be presented to you. You kind of have to create them yourself. And you have to put in the work to keep those opportunities, like responding to emails, and then, you know, after you do the work, like opportunities will start to present themselves. So just kind of get out of your comfort zone and ask for forgiveness, not permission, is kind of what I've been doing. So.
Wait, sorry, will you remind me the question?
Yeah, what are some lessons that you've learned along
Okay.
your journey?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty fresh into it right now. I like I said, it was like my first performance of my own music was March of 2024, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was only 2 years ago. For some reason, it feels like it's been like a bit longer. But I feel like I am still learning a lot. I've learned so much just in that short amount of time, but I can be a perfectionist for sure. And I remember with my first single, Gone Girl, I had already been performing prior. So it was like I released Gone Girl in the beginning of September of 24 and started performing in March, and then kind of like from word of mouth and eyes of performances when I started getting booked. But I was like, man, I don't have any music out still, and I'm like, how am I getting booked with no music out? But I was still very thankful for the opportunities. But then it was like, oh man, like I feel like now there's a lot of pressure on the first single of what is going to be put out. So man, I think we re-recorded so many times Gone Girl, and I was like, at some point, I don't even think I was really like happy with the finished the finished product of it. I was just kind of like, it just has to come out at this point because we booked the single release party, and I was like, well, the date is coming up, so we got to get it submitted. And honestly, I kind of needed that push, and I got worried and I love it, and I'm always proud, you know, I always want to be proud of whatever comes out and whatever's put out and stand 10 toes behind my music. But definitely trying to like trust myself more, and I still find myself with my most recent release of Medicine. It was a bit of a different process with that. I think I had much more of a clear vision of what direction I wanted to go in as an artist, and took a lot of time between that first single release to now. And I was very much like, oh, it's ready. I'm ready for it to be out. And because I was nervous that I'm like, oh, if every single release is gonna be like that or project, we're gonna have a tough time with that. But yeah, I think I've kind of been learning to trust my intention and my intuition with when I get kind of lost in the perfectionism part of it, just to be like, ground myself in what is my intention and what I'm trying to do and where we're going, and trust that whatever happens and whatever comes out is what's meant to be. And so that's something that I've been learning along the way as well as trusting timing with opportunities. I was just telling you about how last year I had applied for Norman Music Fest and hadn't gotten booked. I had one single out, mind you, as well. And I just remember being like, man, I'm manifesting a stage next year. Like, I hope I get booked. If I get a stage, I want to go all out with dancers. And this year, I got booked on a stage. And so it's like, and we're having dancers. And I was saying how I had made a video of talking about that last March. And I was like, feeling so inspired, seeing all like the cool, dope lineup that had come out. And I was just like, made me want to work a lot harder. And I was like, at the end of the day, I do have one song out and like need to grind. And so this past release was kind of like that momentum and like fire starter for this year. But yeah, I think that's like a lesson, is just trusting my intuition. And I don't know if anybody else has trouble with the perfectionism of things and whatnot. Most artists, I think, do. And yeah, just working hard for those opportunities and trusting timing. If it's not this year, it might be next, or the year after, and things like that. So.
And your new single, Medicine, is a banger. Y'all should stream it if you haven't heard it yet.
Thank you.
It's really great. What's your favorite part about the work you do, and the most difficult part about the work that you do? Like, what gets you into like your flow state? Like what's like, yeah, your favorite, the most tasty thing you do?
The tastiest bits of NMF. Festivals there's a million different moving parts to festivals. There's so many little details to take care of, but when it's all done and there's nothing to do except watch it happen, and you're watching, you know, the most beautiful part for me is knowing that while there might be thousands of people that have flocked to Norman to see the bands, my happy place is knowing that there are a couple thousand musicians wandering around, meeting each other behind stages and getting to see and meet each other and meet the artists that they haven't had a chance to see perform, and watching that part happen is that's my happy place. Like that's the happy place, is watching sort of the behind the scenes creatives getting a space to do their thing. That's a happy place. Totally happy place. And the second part, the hardest part, in a festival situation, there's two pieces. There's two real pieces. Is knowing that while it's happy and while it's really great to see artists get a chance to perform and get in front of audiences and get those opportunities to really stretch their wings, and with some maybe infrastructure, a little support behind them, knowing that that's a show and that we really have a long road to go before there's a thriving, supportive music industry in Oklahoma. We have creatives of every possible genre that can make some of the most amazing music. It's the reason why on that great big beautiful poster that Cody made, there are like 7 of those bands from outside Oklahoma, and the rest are all here. And we could have platformed 200 more if we had the space. Oklahoma has extraordinary musicians. And knowing that the music industry has shifted so much that when musicians make music, you don't make any money from the songs that you make. Streaming has taken that entire income source away, so there's no support. So all the musicians I know and love are gigging on the side, they're doing other things, they're doing marketing, they're teaching in a class, they're running a management company, they got a radio show, they're doing whatever else they can do, because that mid-level's not there. And that's the most frustrating part of NMF, is knowing that this big, beautiful thing makes it look like we got stars everywhere, and then everybody goes back to work on Monday. That kind of makes me want to punch things a little bit. Yeah. Yep.
All right, so I think that for me is performing, you know, singing. That's the, I think the easiest part, sorry, can you repeat it again? The question?
Your favorite part about the work you do, and like the most difficult part?
Yeah, so singing, performing, being there, interacting with the public, dancing, and taking picture. For me, that's the best thing ever. The hardest part is everything that is behind that, like practicing, rehearsing, preparing the song. I think also if you are releasing song, you have to, you have to prepare that you have to spend money. You have to spend a lot of money for promos, for streaming, for different social medias. You also have to sacrifice a little bit. Sometimes you don't have money to for other things, and it's hard because most of the people don't know the struggle we have as being independent artists. And some artists like me, I don't like to say those stuff on social media because I'm trying to stay like positive, but there's a lot of things that is hard, especially economically. I think that's the one of the things that punch us in our face, and we try our best. I try my best to not focus on the bad things of music. I know there's some things, but I try to focus more on the good things. What can I do? How can I solve this problem? And one of the things that I'm really happy, and I appreciate, thank you, Lindsey, for supporting local artists, is gigging, like having those different presentations in festivals and bar venues, because that also help us to get a little bit of more money, to raise money for that. So I take the money and just put it aside for music, for social media, and all those platforms. And I'm very happy that here in Oklahoma I had the opportunity to do that, and like Oklahoma is my second home, And yeah, so I think there's, you know, the pros and cons, but that's me. I just I'm trying, like, every time I'm in the stage to not think about, oh, I heard, like, sometimes one time here, I think it was last year or 2 years, I hurt my arm and I was singing with a horrible pain. Like, sometimes, like, we get hurt, you know, but the show must go on. Even I was in pain, I was very happy to be performing here. And yeah, so no, that's my opinion, but I want to stay with the final product, with my presentations, and, you know, making everyone happy that moment.
I think.
Thank you, Cessa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think my favorite part is definitely day of show stuff. I love any and all crises. Like, I work best under pressure. So I just love day of show stuff, setting everything up, getting off stage real quick so whatever artist is on stage can have their moment. My first experience with that was with Stepmom, their little run back last April, and I just remember last Norman Music Fest was the first one that I went to, and I helped them with all their stage change stuff. And I remember walking off stage and just looking out and seeing I don't even know how many people, and I was like, I gotta take a picture and send it to my mom. And I did. And then I actually sent it to the whole family group chat, and then my cousin sent a picture of a football stadium she was at. I was like, okay, calm down. So I just love the day of show stuff. I love hearing the live music from the bands I'm working with and from their openers and everything in between. My least favorite part and where I need to work on is definitely the sitting at home on my laptop, because my ADHD is just I need to pet my cat, and what if I turned on Gilmore Girls, and what if I picked up a new hobby and spent $60 at Hobby Lobby. And so I definitely need to, that's the hardest part, is the behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, I think I answered the question.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're kind of all in the same boat, where it's the performance is always the best part, and getting to see people connect with the music, and slowly seeing the crowd warm up a little bit, and every time just edging people come a little bit closer to the stage, this is we're moving together, you know. But yeah, the performance is always the best part, at least for me. And then the hardest part has been time management and social media, making time to sit down and write, and we all have side gigs, full-time gigs. For me, I do social media marketing, and then as my full-time gig, I also teach spin classes. So and then do this. But yeah, I think that's just what makes the performance so much more rewarding when you're working so hard, or really finding rehearsal time with everybody's schedules. Everybody's got things going on, you know. And so I think that's where I've been focusing the most on and working on, is to better manage my time. I'm listen, if I have time to go out on a Friday night, I have time to sit my butt down and write something, or to, it's I've kind of been I've been a lot more disciplined with myself, which doesn't mean can't have a social life, but it's just I'm very serious about what I want to do, and especially what I want to accomplish this year. And so it's it's got to kind of reel in, and something's got to give, especially with other things going on in our lives. But yeah.
We kind of touched on this earlier, how artists don't get paid hardly anything for their music, and it's hard to survive on just being an artist alone. What are some other things that you'd like to see change within the music industry?
Microphone. So many things, right? I think in Oklahoma in particular, we love Pink Street. Love that there's some budding management companies out there, because with the artists, we're missing that mid-level. I would love to see Oklahoma in its creative economy try to incentivize the mid-level of the music industry, and that includes management and booking companies, representation, distribution companies, because those are the pieces that activate all of the songs that you guys make. And we're missing so many of that, which is why so many of our creatives leave the state and end up in Nashville or New York or LA. And you know, I talk a lot to the booking agents for those bands that we bring into NMF, the headliners that we bring in, and they send me listening lists of suggested bands for NMF. They've gotten to know NMF, they know our vibe, and I listen, and it gets very frustrating when I'm listening to a list and they've sent me kind of a pop punk band. They've sent me a couple of psych rock bands. They've sent me some indie. They've sent me some neo soul. And I email back and say, I have 5 better bands of all of these genres in my backyard. And I would like to see that mid-level change. I would also, this is another thing in the music industry in general I'd like to see, not just for Oklahoma, but everywhere. I think that what we're trending toward in community and in creativity is some hyper-localism. We're creating our scenes. We're creating our places. So finding some way to activate that and create some visibility for Oklahoma City and Kansas City and Dallas and Deep Ellum and Chicago and the other places around where we might be able to create a creative conversation between those creative communities that would lend itself to tours for artists from here to go there and their artists to come here. Because we've got this beautiful middle coast from Chicago to Houston and it just gets flown over so often. So I think there's this whole, I have a little speech about Oklahoma, but I'm gonna, okay, fine, it's 30 seconds. So, Oklahoma doesn't know who she is. This place is the end of the Trail of Tears. More black towns incorporated here than anywhere else in the United States. And the wretched refuse that ran for the scraps weren't heroes, those were rednecks nobody wanted anywhere else. This is the Australia of America. Unwanted humans on an unwanted patch of land, which for me means there's enough generational trauma to create enough creativity to blow a hole in the universe. And we see it everywhere, right? And I think every scene and every place has its story. The stories that we tell in our music, the ways we heal ourselves when we're creating and getting out of those spaces. I think there's real power in finding a way to incorporate that into the music industry instead of just picking the half dozen winners that sit on top and everybody else fights for scraps, which seems to be the way our culture works, but that's a whole other conversation. All right.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
What are some things you'd like?
Because I was listening to you, you know, and I'm just
Some things you'd like to see change within the music industry for artists.
Okay, so like you said, there's a lot of things it needs to change. So I'm new here to Oklahoma music scene, but I feel that we need more venues that support local artists, Latin music especially. I feel because I know there's not most of the Hispanic here are Mexican, so we have a lot of original Mexican music bands, but I wish there were other venues that also bring like all the kinds of Latin music, like pop, salsa, bachata, and even in general, like more, I would say, independent artists. I feel that Oklahoma lacks some more places that with a stage, with some lights, you know, not only in the corner, because sometimes, you know, there's no stage. So hopefully that can change in the future and we can have, you know, more opportunities to present our original music. And then I think the other thing is about the streaming and all the platforms. I wish I have a little a magic wand to just do this, and then all the, you know, our music goes, you know, travel to all the world. But I feel like social media now is good and bad. But I would say that we have to put a lot of effort in social medias and the streamings, because most of the people are there. Most of our fans are there. And yeah, there was, I feel that now, I don't know how to say this in English, but you guys can help me. My friend here that speaks Spanish. La música es, Angelica, you can help me. La música es un, los artistas somos más el negocio. It's like the artists were more like the business, and oh my gosh, I don't know how to say that. So what I'm trying to say is that we, like artists, we have to, pay for everything, and those things, they want our money, but they don't support us. Yeah. It's like, for example, like, so I'm gonna release a song in this platform, but then, if you want to reach to more than 1,000 streaming, you have to pay this. Mm-hmm. But then when you pay that, for example, $40, then it reached only 500. It's I don't know what's going on, but I think that it's affecting all new artists, because we have to pay more to see more for our music to reach to other people, and I wish that can change. Like, I don't mind to pay $40, but at least, like, hey, show it to more people. If I'm paying, at least 5,000 streams, 10,000 streams. But I feel like we're battling with this, that we're not being supported and through that. Yeah.
Something definitely for me, and I think it's the reason why all of us are up here, is definitely I want to see a change in how women and non-binary people are treated in the community. I was a sound engineer at a bar in Stillwater, which I don't know how I got that because I was 18 and anyways. But but like, I would have drunk men come up behind and like grab me or like tell me how to like change something, and I'm like, back off. Like, what's wrong? Or like, I had like men on stage yell at me, and then I'd be like, it's something wrong with your amp, and then they would like be like, oh my god, you're right, and then like, and so it was just like everything was like placed on me, and I just see that in a lot of the way other people are treated in the industry. It's just like, if you're not a straight white man, you're like to blame, Yeah. And so I just want to see it be a safer place, because it's also like, I don't really love going into bars. Like, I went to a Keithley show and I got hate crimed right after, and that was terrifying. And so it's just like, I want to feel safe. I want other women and non-binary people to feel safe when they're going to see these shows at bars, not just from like the people that are in the industry, but the people who like are watching the industry, and so just like more respect in how they're treated, and equal pay too. That would be nice. But yeah.
Yeah, I would like to, I guess, in a way, kind of piggyback off of that, because I have also kind of experienced that in moments. For example, a bit of a performance. Love the sound guys. I love my sound tech people. This was just at one particular spot. Super cool, super fun. But definitely noticed the change in behavior and treatment towards myself than either the headliner or the person that was performing before me, who were also men, and had communicated kind of a little bit about that with some of my friends who are also artists, and they're like, oh, you just got to give it like a couple years or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't think, it's my third time performing there, and I think it's just, I don't know what's going on there, but we persevere, and it's we perform. But regardless, it's just kind of noticing those things, and again, like, it just, if it feels wrong, it's probably wrong. If it feels weird, it's probably weird. So I think just, like equal treatment across like everybody. You never know who you're talking to. You don't know who other people are connected to, or how one can, collaboration can work, but it's just treating everybody with respect and how you would like to be treated, alongside something that I'd like to see in the music industry changes. Y'all, that algorithm, what is going on? It's just, and I'm in marketing and social media marketing, and so I'm constantly teetering and trying to study it, and the field of marketing and area that I'm working in, but also like as an artist, it's been kind of cool to notice it be extremely local. I don't know if y'all have noticed that. If we're posting events and things, people are like, oh, I'm in Edmond, I'm at Norman and it's like, oh, that's great. Like for events, we want that as well. But also that outreach that you're talking about, especially within this belt here, Shari, and how to reach further. And now everything is, you know, here's for some extra views or to reach to this audience, it's like another $50 or something like that. So yeah, I think it's just kind of a guessing game at times, but at the end of the day, it's what we're having to mold ourselves into. We also have to wear the social media hat. We also have to be the artist, the designer, all of the things. And so hopefully in a way maybe that changes, but for the time being, I think a lot of people are doing a really good job of like trying to mold into doing what needs to be done to get to where everybody wants to go. So
Thank you all. I have one more question and then I'll open it up to audience questions. We might have time for maybe 2 or 3 of those, so be thinking about what you want to ask. But how can folks support the ongoing work that you do?
I got asked in an interview recently, Cody's laughing. I got asked in an interview recently, what do you wish more people knew about Norman Music Festival that they don't know? And the thing that I wish more people knew about Norman Music Festival is that we're in the top 10 largest free music festivals in the United States. We take place in downtown Norman. And other than me, who's paid part-time, and paid is a very loose term, it's an entirely volunteer festival with 1/10 of the budget of any festival remotely near our size. So how can people support something like NMF where artists get a chance to shine? Donate $20. It's free. I mean, this is a free festival with 250 artists that we put on stage. 2/3 of our budget goes just to the logistics to shut the street down and get stages up and have trash and portable toilets and street closures and a $25,000 insurance policy and everything else, right? So people can support by donating $20, but also to really support the music industry, to your point, Bella, the algorithm is against us, right? Without really robust local media outlets that are consistently and comprehensively covering our art scene to let people know what's going on. The other thing you can really do to help is literally follow and like the posts of all of the bands, the events, and everybody else that you love. That's doing your part. Pitch in $10 when you can, hit that like button, hit that follow button. It sounds stupid, and it sounds like we're participating, but you're building the algorithm and skewing it toward the things that you like and helping your local scene. So do that.
I agree with you, and I think we're all gonna agree with this. But yes, I think the best way you can support us is just going to our social media, liking our posts, sharing our music. Even if you don't like the music, maybe someone else you know probably will like it. Put the songs on the playlist. If there's a local event that I'm going to perform or the artist going to perform live, you can come, you're welcome. And yes, I feel taking pictures, tagging us on social media. I think, like I said, social media is it's very powerful, and it has a lot of good things. So I feel that doing that will help us a lot. And yes, just commenting. Also, I like to I'm not a big I don't comment like a lot of things, but I'm always very happy and I appreciate every post and that makes me really happy. So I think doing that and yeah, just sharing the song, sharing everything with other people that you know, yeah.
Yeah, I think following artists, going to live shows, streaming everybody on Spotify or Apple Music. And then I think for me specifically, since I'm not like an artist, just reaching out for collaborations. I love collaborating, I love new side quests, and I'm down for like anything. And so I love event planning, so if there's ever anything, that you want planned, like just shoot us an email or follow me on Instagram and shoot me a DM, but like I'm down to make music happen in Oklahoma. But yeah.
yeah, I feel like y'all all nailed it. I would agree. Stream, follow, like, share, comment, and yeah, I think y'all all nailed it on the head. I really don't have much to kind of add other than that.
Awesome. Does anyone in the audience have a question? I think we should be able to hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, okay, there's a lot of things I wanted to ask, but I'm gonna try to condense it. Especially for you, because you mentioned something like the Oklahoma music industry lacks a lot of things, right? Okay, so I manage a young artist, it's my daughter, and I don't have anything to compare it with.
Right.
You know, so what do we lack? So why do people go to Nashville or LA?
So the booking gate is a great question. So those other scenes, when they're submitting artists, you have booking agents. And I've asked so many of those booking agents, because those are the folks, those larger booking agents with pools of talent, they have access to larger festivals, venues. All of those people are looking to the rosters from those booking agents to find the artists they want. And I just ask, if I have 10 better bands in my backyard, how do I get them on your roster? How do I help all of these great bands I know? And they're all really honest with me. They're like, to be honest, just not to be mean or cruel, I bet your bands are better, but they can walk outside their front door and there are 300 bands lined up in New York, California, Nashville at all of those booking agents with stacks of, emails and demos and links coming to them for listening every single day. So getting heard or seen in that is really difficult. But I think if we had some incentivized booking and outreach on behalf of the talent we have here, we're starting to see Oklahoma artists on big stages everywhere. Oklahoma music is really terrific. So I would like to see more of that. Distribution companies, there's a few of them popping up, I like it. There's some management companies coming along that are working on developing some rosters, but those are the business people behind the music. And we don't have a lot of that business infrastructure here in Oklahoma. And that makes it 10 times harder for an Oklahoma musician. You have musicians who, for example, Rainbows Are Free. Love this psych rock band, known for a very long time. They've played, I think, every NMF since ever. They got signed a few years ago to Ripple Records. So getting signed to a record label is different than having a management company that's gonna help you with booking and distribution, right? So they have a record label, they put a video out, they had an album release, it was great. Rolling Stone Europe put out their video to their crowd, it was awesome, and still Richie Tarver, lead guitarist, is sitting at home at his kitchen table calling venues trying to get a gig. Because there's not that here, and they don't want to leave. They have families here, they have businesses here, so they want to stay in Oklahoma, but there's not that assistance or someone to sign them up and help do the thing. So that's kind of what we're missing a little bit of here in Oklahoma, that I would like to see flourish a little more to help activate all this incredible talent we've got.
Any other questions?
I have a question. First of all, I want to thank you for the Norman Music Fest. I've been in Oklahoma for 26 years, and I'm happy that you guys put that out there. And I'm going to ask you something, don't get me wrong, I love the artists in the Norman Music Fest, Posse, Mike Black, Daruba, all those, but when can we see a stage for Latin music? And like for Lee or Alina?
Another great question. We actually had this conversation before. And there is, so what's interesting is we don't do stages of necessarily all one genre anymore. And the reason is nobody puts their Spotify playlist together like that anymore. And instead, I think we as a team, I don't know, I don't want to speak for everybody on the team, but I like booking for vibes. Sometimes you just want to chill out, and this is music that's all going to speak to your soul. You're going to chill out. It's going to be different genres. It's going to be great. This one over here, this is going to melt your face, and if you're feeling some kind of way and you need to scream, this one's going to take care of you. I like that. But in particularly this year, for Latin music of all kinds, it was a really, we felt really conflicted about it, considering the position that the Latino community is in right now in this country.
Sure.
that if we were encouraging a big stage full that was gonna gather the Latino community, would we be shining a light and putting people in danger? And we didn't know how to navigate that. So there's flair woven into the vibes at NMF, but we decided that shining a spotlight, at least I'm gonna speak for me and nobody else, because I did much of the booking, but I didn't want to shine a light. I didn't want to be the reason that people congregated and got separated from their families or had a problem. And I did not have, in the hustle and the hurry of trying to get all of the bands booked and the chaos that we saw coming in the beginning of this year, I didn't have enough time to really process and digest and navigate a better way through. I hope we get to do that a little better next year, because there's also really extraordinary musicians of all different kinds of Latin and Latino music here in Oklahoma City that deserve a spot at NMF.
Any other questions? Let's see our time. Maybe one more. Bailey? Oh. You're just scratching, okay.
We got one back here.
I got one.
Yeah.
Thank you all for doing this today. I guess one of my questions is, in your capacity of music industry or being creative, how has been working with producers kind of shaped how you approach doing that, whether it is booking or song building or releasing, like how, and if so, in Oklahoma, is that a healthy experience? And if not, what's a way that it can be?
Yeah, working with producers. I know both of you work with producers?
Yeah. So sorry, just want to clarify. The question is like, how has like been navigating working with producers been in Oklahoma?
Yes, and how has it shaped the way you've approached creating?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I think so. For me, I currently work with Ethan Wilson. He's also a part of Love Seats and Chelsea Dayz. He's absolutely incredible. He's so talented. And like, for at least in my experience, I think I just had a lot of people around me who were also artists and were very much like, I don't know, I haven't really heard anything negative in that sense, but I've been lucky to have people around me that have been like, we want to make sure you're in the right hands and things like that. And just because, as you can tell, like stories and outside of Oklahoma, this is not like just aimed at anything, but in my experience, it's been really, really good. And in my process of creating, like Ethan brings such a cool perspective, and he's very, his natural genre is like indie alternative, and I'm very, I love like R&B and like soul R&B, alternative R&B, and so it's like, it's been really cool to collaborate with him and like kind of mesh our genres together and push each other. And yeah, and I think what's really cool about Oklahoma, and I've said it earlier, was that I feel like we do such a good job of collaborating. All artists want to just connect with each other, and whether it's like, hey, I'm a part of 3 bands, but like I really want to help you out too, and like, or hey, like I like Nia Monet. I don't know if you know Nia Monet. She's an incredible R&B artist as well, and I'm just like, hey girl, love you, love your vibes. Do you want to come to the session? Like, I would just, if you have any ideas, like, we're all in the room with each other. And so that's what's really cool. We talk about Oklahoma being so small, or like Oklahoma City and being a bit smaller, but I think there's a bit of an advantage to that, of being able to take advantage of it being small and connect with each other and collaborate. But I think as far as being an artist and working with producers, it's good to expand your range and work with multiple producers, and it doesn't have to be just like one fixed thing. Or have multiple producers in the room. That's what I did as well, and so love having a lot of heads in the room. So what about you? Sorry.
Oh no, that's good. I agree with you, and I think there's some good producers here in Oklahoma. I only work with Ricardo Sasaki for almost 10 years now. I don't have much experience of working with other producers. Now he's leaving to Bolivia, and for me, it's gonna be a shift because I have to find another producer. The thing is that I've been working with Latin music. I sing everything. I sing English too. I do pop rock. But now I'm trying to focus more on tropical music. So I have to find a producer who is able to at least know a little bit of Latin music, because I feel that I'm willing to work with anybody, but sometimes there's some producers they're very good at indie, or they're really good at pop or rock, but then not everyone is I think is open to work with Latin music, and but I can. If you guys know anybody else that work with Latin music, just let me know. Yeah, so I feel that also you can find like a producer who is aligned to your genre. I think sometimes that helps because that person already have that ear for that. For example, like if I can find another producer who has worked with Latin music, so I think that's gonna be beneficial for me because he already knows like, oh, okay, so added a trumpet, maybe the percussion, because we use a lot of percussions is different. The way they have to produce that is not the same of a drum, just a drum kit. And yes, I'm just very excited to meet other producers. Just let me know with other people that you work, and yeah, so that's it.
Yay! Everyone give it up for these panelists. Just a quick plug, Bella's going to be performing at our next Uncovered show. Uncovered cartoon theme songs. So it's going to be a very fun, nostalgic night. That is May 9th. Really excited for that. Everyone go to Norm Music Festival next weekend. Go to Sunny Dayz, obviously. Any other plugs you all have? Any upcoming events you want to talk about?
Oh, I'm gonna be singing at Festival of Art next Saturday at 6 p.m.
Oh, yay.
It's gonna be in the main stage, so everyone is welcome there. I'm gonna be singing some bachata, some pop, and some reggaeton. So everyone, you can check your booty there. Thank you.
Cool. Great. Thank you all so much for coming. Be sure to check out the Sunny Dayz merch. It's really cool. And have a safe night. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.